But this also represents an opportunity for me to introduce one of our colleagues, Jennifer Arbuckle. Jennifer, if you could come up. Jennifer has worked with the City of Biggs off and on. She is the lead coordinator for the Lee County Edible Food Recovery Working Group, which is part of the abomination also known as Senate Bill 1383.
Yes.
I know it's your bread and butter.
It is.
I don't like it one bit, but we're placed into this position with every other municipality where we have to comply with its dictates, and where I see a lot of opportunities for communities like Biggs in pursuing grants through Cal Recycle. And could you speak to this resolution and why it's going to be helpful for us?
Yes. So I'm going to give them a little more background about me, you guys. So I've been managing solid waste programs in Northern California for the last 22 years. So that's what I do. I usually manage solid waste and recycling programs for jurisdictions and haulers alike. I was the director up in Paradise until the fire burned us all down, and we lost 90% of our business. So that's when I was always helping all these jurisdictions with all the reporting and grants. So I kind of just went out on my own so that I didn't have to move anywhere. So that's where you find me now. So, and two, I was, so 1383 came along, and then, I worked with Cliff over at, when he was at Gridley, just to get everybody understanding what their compliance is and understanding what's going on. And then I also noticed that Gridley and Biggs, I started bringing, you guys aren't applying for any of these grants where it's our taxpayers' money, so we can give back to our people and hold free events. Whether it's, for this one specifically, it's tire amnesty events, so we can, if we get the 40 grand, we can hold an event, a free event for everybody to bring as many tires as they like, make as many trips as they like, clean them up, no illegal dumping. We hold them once in the spring and once in the fall, and that's all covered costs for you guys, and it covers all personnel and everything, so it's money that just to build the program, especially out in the rural communities that don't always get that trickle down from the county, right? Or don't necessarily want to drive all the way to Needle Road when there is a free program. So these can really behoove you. There's also different grant programs where you can just get free funding to put in new benches, new water fountains in your park or at schools or downtown if you'd like, or some recycling bins. So there's no reason to miss those opportunities. There's also payment programs you can see in the resolution. So the grant, like the tire amnesty, is competitive. We gotta make a good argument and write it, and try to win just based on our prowess of writing and our argument. But there's also payment programs where you can get, it's just a minimum about $10,000 a year where you get a little chunk of money, $5,000 for used oil programs and $5,000 for beverage container that you can use for education, or you can use for somebody like me that can come in and make sure you're in compliance and do your reporting for you. So it's just, money that you get. $10,000 is nothing to bat an eye about. It's money. It's from all of our communities' taxpayers' money. So I always said to each community, take it. It's there for you to have it, to use to build our programs and provide resources for the community. Awesome. And then if you want, while I'm here, just if you have any questions about SB 1383, I think too, Cliff, and when we get there in the reporting, when Josh was here, I did the EAR for him because after 1383, really what that threw in the city and jurisdictions labs is really you having to now be responsible for enforcement of solid waste and recycling, right? Before it was just like you expect the haulers to do what they're doing, but now you actually have to pay attention and properly report and make sure that you're checking to make sure the businesses are in compliance, and also the residents. So you guys got a rural exemption. I'm sure you've heard that. That means you're exempt from having to require everybody to collect their food scraps and their yard waste. But that's the only thing you're exempt from, and the procurement. Everything else of 1383, you still have to follow and keep the proper records and report them every year. So if you have any questions on that, I can answer any question you might have.
Any questions? Jennifer?
Okay, you guys are easy. Is there anything else you want me to address?
I would just sum up with, this particular resolution and the pursuit of this and other grants in conjunction with working with solid waste pros like Jennifer allows us to be and remain compliant with a very serious regulatory regime. Unfortunately, I do think that 5-year exemption is going to sunset, and it's only going to become more challenging for us to remain in compliance. And so it's just an ongoing conversation that we have to have.
Yeah, and you guys have waste management right now, and when that 5-year, sunsets and you guys are have to be in compliance, by that time, waste management will already have a program that they have to utilize, like for Chico, right? So they'd just be able to take your material, and it would be a change of, I don't think it'd be that hard for you guys cost-wise, you might have to do a rate increase a little bit, but I'm sorry, don't even bring that up, but my point is the program will be set, so it wouldn't be that big of a transition if people have to start separating the food scraps. It would be it would be more like a letter that you'd send out saying residents, hey, this program exists now, you can do this. You know, without having like, you don't need to put in your own composting facility or something, it's an infrastructure increase of like $7 million, you guys wouldn't have to do that, you'd use the main hub that was arranged for Butte County.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, I know, okay.
Thank you. And to the tire grant, I know that Butte County Mosquito used to do a tire amnesty every year, and they had more tires than they could collect. And so it's been a while since that's happened, so that would be a good thing.
Yes, we just had that cleanup, and we got that Caltrans grant last year, we were able to do those 2 cleanups, and that was great as well. So you can see the need around here, especially a lot of people in Biggs and these rural, they get illegally dumped on their land, and it's not their fault, and tires now, you get some of those big ones, they cost $20 each to dispose of, which is, you got 5 of them, you know, it adds up.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, if there are no other questions for Cliff, any public comment? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2025-12, resolution of the City Council of the City of Biggs, State of California, authorizing submittal of applications for all Cal Cycle grant and payment programs for which the City of Biggs is eligible.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
I'll look at that.
Item C, discussion action, reviewing recommendations for a fireworks ordinance.
Mr. Mayor and Council, as you recall, Council Member Arnold was part of the process that led to the implementation and adoption of a fireworks ordinance for the city of Biggs this past year. There are some elements of the existing ordinance that need to be realigned so that they're consistent with California State Code. And it's also an opportunity for council to give staff direction on how you would like to approach it this year. We do have Jason Hood with TNT Fireworks here tonight, and he's a great resource who could answer any questions. It's my understanding that typically the number of booths authorized by communities is driven by population base, and I think the number is 2,500. So one booth per 2,500 residents. Because if you over booth, you undercut the profitability of the entire process. And so your local organizations that are participating don't have a good reason to do it again next year if they don't at least break even and make money. So, opportunity for us to have a discussion, and again, my recommendation is that council direct staff to begin the process of realigning the language and tuning it up, if you will, and bringing that back to council for adoption in the near-term future.
Okay, any questions for Cliff? Any public comment? So the recommendation then is basically to direct staff to bring it, to tune it up and bring it back. So if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to direct staff.
Jason does have some input.
Oh, really?
If that's
You
all right.
have it.
That's think that's definitely the gist. I think for this year, as we all know, last year, this all got passed, rather quickly, on June 4th. So it was more of a position of, hey, a license was approved, the high school got approved in a meeting, and they didn't even know they got approved until I called them. And so, they're very interested in running a booth again this year. And kind of with the challenges last year of it, coming up so much on the last minute, as well as heat was pretty effective at a lot of booths everywhere. I would recommend, giving them a permit again this year to try the program out. There'll be more advertising, people are more aware of it as well. And, and then at that time, kind of decide what the fee should be. I mean, right now it was written in the ordinance about the 10% of gross sales in there, but AB 1403 really kind of caps that fee at 7%. And those funds have to be used for processing and issuing permits, inspection of the stands, any public education on the safe and responsible use of safe and sane fireworks and the dangers of illegal fireworks. Illegal fireworks enforcement, but only if additional personnel are needed specifically because of safe and sane firework sales, or fire suppression, but only if it can be shown to relate to safe and sane use. This was passed in October of 2023. And so any ordinance that was passed before January 1st of 2024 is exempt from that, but being that this one was passed in June of 24,